offseason. So these aren't like fantasy trades, these aren't superstar trades, these are actual trades that I'm assuming that are going to be very realistic and good for all NBA teams. So with that being said, let's sort of jump right into it. Up first, we have the Atlanta Hawks. And in this trade, we have the Atlanta Hawks acquiring Rudy Gobert, wow, and Joe Ingles from the Utah Jazz for Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, and the number 6th overall pick in the 2020 NBA Draft. Wow. So in this trade for the Atlanta Hawks, you get a sort of win-now trade scenario, which, in my opinion, and I go through these kind of fast because if I spend like 2 minutes talking about every trade, that's 30 teams, 2 minutes for every team, that's an hour video. Not trying to do that, so I kind of rushed these a little bit, so sorry if I could pass a lot of things very quickly. But for the Hawks, do I like this trade? No. I like the sort of rebuilding process they're going through right now with Trae Young, Hunter, they have Cam Reddish still, Huerter, they have a lot of really good young pieces, plus Clint Capella, who I still think is not even, he's like mid-20s, like 25, 26, 27 years old, so he's still in his developing phase. I don't think trading for Rudy Gobert right now really helps them as much as just building their core group of guys together, and then if that core group doesn't develop well enough together, but individually, then you can start shooting out pieces individually for better pieces. I don't think doing this right now is a good move, because I even think DeAndre Hunter would be a really good starter for this team with the ascension of Trae Young. I don't think this is a very good idea. For Utah, this would be awesome, obviously, getting, better players really good young players to put around. They're also a setting star, and Donovan Mitchell, I think, is like 22, 23 years old, so also very young. But I think for the Atlanta Hawks' sake, this is a very bad trade. They're definitely not in a win-now mode. It's not like Trae Young is like having an expiring contract anytime soon. I think you just stay put with what you got and just keep rolling with the rebuild. I think they'll be perfectly fine next year. Next up, we have the Boston Celtics here, with the Boston Celtics acquiring Miles Turner and Jeremy Lamb from the Indiana Pacers for Gordon Hayward and the number 14 pick and a 2021 first-round pick. So you're giving up 2 first-round picks in Gordon Hayward for Miles Turner and Jeremy Lamb. If I'm Boston here, I'm definitely taking this. Gordon Hayward is obviously not the player that he was supposed to be, was going to be, injuries, a lot of setbacks, a lot of, different players on the Boston Celtics turning out to be really, 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 really good scorers on their own. He has to take a really big step back, being the 4th or even 5th option sometimes for the Boston Celtics. And the 2 first-round picks, the Celtics, as you can see, are a championship contending team, and they're going to be for the next couple years with Tatum, Brown, and Kemba Walker being there. All it matters is acquiring pieces to build around them, and I think having a also young player like Miles Turner, who's still trying to find himself, is going to be a very good addition to that. Plus, you're getting a good scorer on their own with Jeremy Lamb, who in my opinion is probably a better scorer than Gordon Hayward is right now. Not all time, obviously. Gordon Hayward was a beast and an all-star back in his heyday, but that's not nowadays. So if I'm Boston, I'm taking this trade. Even for Indiana, this is good because they're going through, it looks like they're going to start a rebuild, and they look like, I see Miles Turner name pop up a lot. I see Victor Oladipo's name pop up a lot. They just fired their head coach, so I'm seeing into the future. I think they're going to start building around Sabonis and sort of restarting the franchise. So those 2 first-round picks could be very important. Now we have the Brooklyn Nets here, and the Brooklyn Nets acquire Joel Embiid. Wow. The Philadelphia 76ers get Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, and the number 19 2020 pick and a 2022 first-round pick. So we get 2 first-round picks. Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie for Joel Embiid. Obviously, if I'm Brooklyn, oh man, actually, am I taking this? I don't think I'm taking this. I don't think I'm taking this trade, actually. I think I said this before, even in my last trade video. The NBA nowadays, as you can see, who are in the conference finals right now, Denver, Miami, Miami and Denver are key examples of deep teams Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, and even a potential first-round pick is probably just more valuable than just having a potential good superstar in Joel Embiid. That's just my opinion. But if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, of course I'm taking this trade. You're getting a starting caliber center, Jared Allen, who's still very young. Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a starting point guard basically in my eyes, and Karis LeVert, who can also start on their team. Plus 2 first-round picks. You can play that all around Ben Simmons. I think it'll be perfectly fine for them, but for the Nets' sake, I'm gonna say no. We have up the Charlotte Hornets now with acquiring Steven Adams from the Oklahoma City Thunder for Terry Rozier. Okay, well obviously if I'm Charlotte, I'm taking this trade because Charlotte does need a starting center. They don't have really anyone. They have Cody Zeller, who played decent. He's like a decent role player, but definitely shouldn't be starting for any team, in my opinion. I think that's who they were starting, right? I don't even really remember who was on their team, but we saw the ascension of Devontae Graham, who got robbed for a nominee for most improved player. He definitely should have been at least second. The dude averaged like 8 points last season, and now he's like a 20-point per game scorer. So if that's not improvement, I don't know what to tell you. But I think he is a really good starting caliber point guard, at least for their system. Getting rid of Terry Rozier would be really good for them. Gives him more of a spot and more of a designed role, instead of having that confusion. So, and plus Steven Adams is a good, 15 and 10 player who is still kind of young. I know his contract is kind of a lot, but it's still better than nothing, and it's Charlotte. So I'm taking that trade. For OKC, this would make a lot of sense because you already have Shea, and you still have Dennis Schroeder, so you don't need another guard. So I don't see OKC accepting this trade, but for Charlotte, this would be an okay job for me. We have the Chicago Bulls now, and the Bulls acquired Tobias Harris from the Philadelphia 76ers and a 2022 first-round pick and a 2020 second-round pick for Otto Porter Jr. So this is a Bulls and Sixers trade, so you get Tobias Harris for Otto Porter. If I'm the Bulls, I'm taking this. Actually, am I taking this? Whoa. I just remembered Tobias Harris has like one of the biggest contracts in the league right now. Actually, I don't think I'm taking this trade. Chicago, I know, is still in a rebuilding phase. But people want to play in Chicago. Chicago isn't one of these other cities that are in a rebuilding phase that are hard. Like, New York is obviously a great destination, but their, management sucks. Chicago just had a whole entire reshuffle of management. Plus, Chicago, a lot of really good players are from Chicago, that from area. Love the Bulls, so I think they can actually free up some cap space to actually sign someone. With Tobias being there, I think that sort of, it's a lot harder to do besides just waiting for Otto Porter Jr.'s contract to expire. Plus, you give me up picks. I actually don't think I'd do this if I'm Chicago. Even for Philly, with Philly, Otto Porter Jr. is obviously not better than Tobias Harris, at least in my opinion. I think he obviously has more of an upside with Tobias Harris, but it's just that contract, dude, it's really rough. But if I'm Chicago, I'm not doing this trade. I think their cap space is actually very valuable, especially with a young team. I think a good young player would actually be willing to sign to that team. Next we have the Cleveland Cavaliers getting Harrison Barnes and Jabari Parker and a 2021 first-round pick swap for Kevin Love. Okay, so the Cavs get Harrison Barnes and Jabari Parker for Kevin Love. If I'm the Cavs, no, because I feel like you can't get more. Obviously, for Kevin Love, I feel like you can probably get a good young player or some even more assets than that for him. So for their sake, I say no. Even for both sides, it doesn't make a lot of sense. This trade kind of sucks. Because if you're the Kings, you obviously just want to get, draft picks and build around De'Aaron. I don't see how Kevin Love really fits that unless, obviously making the playoffs would be awesome, but, did they give up on Bagley? I think Bagley would be a really good starting power forward for them. Unless they're trying to make him a center. I'm not really entirely sure what that whole situation is going on down there in Sacramento. It's all wishy-washy, honestly. But this is a bad trade for both sides. I feel like you can get more for Kevin Love, and I don't know why the Kings would want to get a sort of, win-now type of player when you can barely make the playoffs. So, I'm going to pass on this trade. I don't think either team should do this. Next, we have the Dallas Mavericks, with the Dallas Mavericks acquiring Josh Richardson from the Philadelphia 76ers for Seth Curry in the number 18 first round pick at 18, which is a pretty decent pick, especially in this draft, which is not very, deep with all-star talent, but it's a deep draft with really decent players that you can probably develop really well. And plus you get Seth Curry, who is a shooting point guard, which they definitely need. So I think this is definitely fine in my opinion. So I think for both sides, this is definitely a trade I would probably say yes to. Next we have here the Denver Nuggets, and the Denver Nuggets acquire Drew Holiday from the New Orleans Pelicans for Gary Harris, Will Barton, and a 2020 first-round pick via Houston. I've been seeing a lot of trades built around Drew Holiday in a lot of trade rumor places, so I don't know if they're actually trying to ship him out or anything like that, but man, for Denver's sake, because this is Denver's trade, I would say, I guess, yes. I mean, I like the idea of Drew Holiday being the point guard of a team, but I guess he has been playing shooting guard a lot recently with having Lonzo Ball being there. And I guess you could move Jamal to the 2 or the 1, whatever you want to put it. And plus, Drew Holiday is a really good defensive-minded guard who can really make up for the mistakes of Jamal Murray sometimes. Plus, as you can see, Denver is almost in a win-now situation. They just need one more piece in order to make a really big playoff, championship run. And I feel like Drew Holiday could do that, so I think this would actually not that be bad. Plus, you get off that big, gross Gary Harris contract. Will Barton's making a lot of money too, so I would say yes. But if I'm the Pelicans, I feel like you can get more for Drew Holiday. So if I'm the Pelicans, I'm saying no, because you want better, younger assets than Gary Harris. No offense to Gary Harris, but that's just the thing I'm getting at here. You can get more for Drew Holiday, I feel like, than just those 2 players. But if I'm Denver, I'm definitely doing this. Okay, now we're on to the Detroit Pistons. And for the Pistons here, we have here a trade that they get Andre Iguodala from the Miami Heat with Kelly Olynyk and a first-round pick from this year in exchange for Derrick Rose. So you get Derrick Rose on the Miami Heat for Andre Iguodala and Kelly Olynyk. Again, if I'm Detroit, why am I doing this trade? You're already a team that needs a rebuild. It's not like you're getting any free agents to sign with you. I don't see why this is a good idea. You can definitely get way more in assets for Derrick Rose than, no offense, than Andre Iguodala or Kenny Olynyk. Sure, you're getting a 20th pick in the draft, but Derrick Rose, I feel like right now is worth more than just a 20th overall pick, in my opinion. So this is a no-go for Detroit. If I'm Miami, of course I'm doing this. You can get a great backup. Chris Nunn, no offense, has been very absent in the playoffs, as you can see. Maybe he kicks it back up again like he did in the regular season for next regular season, or somehow they lose Dragic. You get Derrick Rose, who can be a great starter or backup point guard, and you have Nunn or whoever they decide to keep for the backup point guard or starting point guard position. Obviously, Dragic has been amazing in this playoff run that they've been going on. So, I mean, they can keep Derrick Rose and Dragic, who can be probably more reliable than Kendrick Nunn, but again, in the regular season, you don't really know. But I'm still doing this trade if I'm the Miami Heat. Next up, we have the Golden State Warriors, and for the Golden State Warriors, we have here the Warriors getting Robert Covington from the Houston Rockets in exchange for cash and a first-round pick. Interesting. It says here, in exchange for a $17.2 million TPE, and I think that's trade player exception, and a first-round pick. I mean, obviously, if I'm Golden State, I'm doing this. Golden State, definitely needs a, deeper bench than they do right now. I think, obviously, over the regular season, they played a lot of their, role pieces, and they played very well, obviously winning a lot of pretty key games. Obviously, losing a lot of games, too, but they played pretty well together without having, Steph and Clay and all them being there. So I think adding Robert Covington would be a great wing for them. Could even start if they don't even really get someone for that position with the trade for Andrew Wiggins, which we all know they're going to trade. And then if I'm the Rockets, I mean, I feel like you can get more for Robert Covington than just a first-round pick. I think that team really needs to figure out their identity, especially if Mike D'Antoni obviously just said he's not going to coach. What coach is going to come in? That coach is going to figure out, are we going to go small ball? Are we going to get a new center? Or this, that, and the other. has really shown that they can really turn it up in the playoffs. So I'm gonna say no. I feel like you can get a better situated star than him. You can probably get like a Bradley Beal or some other player, maybe even like Chris Middleton if you decided to trade him. You can probably get a better co-star than Blake Griffin. But if I'm Houston, of course I'm doing this. You're getting a former MVP. If you're Detroit, you're doing whatever you can to get a player like Russell Westbrook on your roster. But if I'm Detroit, if I'm Houston, I'm not doing this trade if I'm Houston. Indiana Pacers acquire Drew Holiday, again another Drew Holiday trade, and a second round pick for Miles Turner and Doug McDermott. Oh, okay, so this is just like a reverse role switch of the situation. So the Pacers get Drew Holiday and a second round pick, and the Pelicans get Miles Turner and Doug McDermott. Interesting. So honestly, for both sides, I don't think this is that bad of a situation. Now, for the Pelicans, I would rather have Jeremy Lamb, because I think they have Jeremy Lamb, right? I'd rather have Miles Turner and Jeremy Lamb than Doug McDermott. So if I could change those two players around, I would definitely do this deal. But as the deal is right now, again, I feel like you can get more for Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is a quality player. People say a lot of NBA players say he is the hardest player to go up against on the perimeter defensive side. So he's one of the best defenders in the league. I feel like you can get a lot more than just a good starting center who's young. You know what I mean? So if I'm Indiana, am I doing this trade? Yes, I think I am. But if I'm the Pelicans, like I said, I think you can get more for Drew Holiday. Now you're at the Clippers. And the Clippers acquire Jalen Brunson from the Dallas Mavericks for Landry Shamet. I mean, yeah, I feel like Jalen Brunson's probably a more quality role player right now than Landry Shamet is, because Landry Shamet is still kind of a younger developing player, so I feel like this trade probably works out for them. And Dallas can use a shooter, I guess, so I feel like for both sides it isn't really that big of a deal. Obviously, like I've been saying, Dallas really does need perimeter defense, and I don't know what the Clippers need. The Clippers feel like they don't need anything. I think they just need some more playing time together, I guess. So I feel like getting rid of a not so key role to their lineup is probably good, and you're still getting a good quality role player back. So I think this is pretty good for both sides. Next up we have the Los Angeles Lakers, and in this trade, the Lakers get Dennis Schroeder from the OKC Thunder for Kyle Kuzma. Now in this trade scenario, it'd be really good if they did that other trade before to get, who were we just talking about? I forget who it was, but if they did decide to trade one of these players and get another backup point guard, I feel like this would be perfectly fine, because with this you still get Kyle Kuzma, who I feel like doesn't like his role at being the third option on a super historic team like this one is with LeBron. I feel like him going to a different scenario where he can still be himself more than having to be, super, professional, championship desired sort of Lakers team. We all saw what Kyle Kuzma was back when it was just, fun, happy Lakers team. Oh, let's develop our players, this, that, and the other. And then they got LeBron. Everything got really serious, and I don't think Kyle Kuzma really is up to the pressure of that. So I feel like he can still be a really good 20-point per game scorer. And he's still, only in his third year in the league. So even though he is one of the older players of that draft, I still feel like he has time to develop. And then for the Lakers, you get a starting point guard, basically, who's a pretty scrappy player on the defensive end, who can score and pass the ball pretty well. So I would take this deal if I'm both sides. I don't see anything like that. Next up, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies acquire Patty Mills from the San Antonio Spurs for Kyle Anderson. That's actually kind of funny, because I think Kyle Anderson used to play on the Spurs before he signed a contract to play in Memphis, so that's pretty funny. So Memphis gets Patty Mills in the Spurs. Yeah, I would do this trade for both sides. Memphis seems like they're playoff bound, and they can get a good sides are pretty good with this. Now we're on to Miami Heat. The Miami Heat get LaMarcus Aldridge. Yes, the Heat get LA from the Spurs for Iguodala, Kelly Olynyk, and a second round pick. No. if I'm the Miami Heat, which in this scenario I am, of course I'm doing this deal. You get LA for Iggy and Kelly Olynyk, sorry. Of course I'm doing this trade. If I'm the Spurs, I'm firing the GM who does this. Of course you can get way more than this for LA. I know LA just had an injury in a surgery, I think, but I still feel like he's still a capable player. You can get some good assets for him. And I don't think Andre Iguodala and Kelly Olynyk is that good of an asset. No offense. But, yeah, if I'm Miami, I'm doing this trade. Obviously, Miami with Jimmy and Marcus Aldridge and Tyler Hero and Dragic and Bam Adebayo. That team's another title contender again for next season, even without the playoff bubble. We're on to the Milwaukee Bucks. In this scenario, the Milwaukee Bucks get Chris Paul. I've been seeing a lot of these trade rumors with Chris Paul going to the Bucks. And in this trade, they get him for Eric Bledsoe, Ilyasova, Robin Lopez, Dante DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick. Okay, so if I'm the Bucks, obviously I'm doing this. Well, wait, am I obviously doing this trade? I think I'm doing this trade just because you want to please Giannis. Now, I think obviously having a deep team would be great, but I feel like with this Milwaukee Bucks team, players know that you can win a championship with this team, so I feel like they'll be able to get to free agents easier, like older, veteran minimum players who are ready to win now, and I feel like they can get those type of players, so I feel like that's a good scenario to gain, a deeper roster. So I feel like losing a lot of these players is fine, because they'll be able to get some back in return in the free agency. And plus you're getting Chris Paul, who just proved to be a crazy player this year. I still give him probably like another year of really good basketball, then after that I don't think he's going to have it left in him. So I think this is, Chris Paul knowing this is going to be his last chance of winning a championship, I feel like he would play literally the hardest he's ever played ever in his entire career. So I think this is a good trade. And then for OKC, of course I'm doing this trade. You're getting off of the Chris Paul contract, you're still getting a starting caliber player. And Eric Bledsoe, you can still make the playoffs with that point guard with Shea being up to 2. And then you get a great piece with Dante DiVincenzo, who can probably stay on your team, who can develop with Shea, with Steven Adams, with Dort, with all those players they have on that team. I feel like he could be a really good key piece to that team. Plus you're getting a first round pick from Milwaukee. I feel like both sides really get a lot from this trade, and I think both sides would definitely take it. Now we're on to Minnesota Timberwolves. And the Minnesota Timberwolves acquire Dennis Schroeder for James Jones and a second round pick. This one's gonna be fast. No. Well, if I'm the Timberwolves in this scenario, I am dumb doing this trade. James Jones for Dennis Schroeder and a second. Yes, I'm doing this trade. This is dumb. This is stupid. And then if I'm OKC, I'm again firing the GM who does this trade. I'm hanging up the phone instantly. No, I'm skipping past this. No, no. But if I'm Minnesota, definitely, that's an amazing trade. We have the New Orleans Pelicans, and in this scenario, the Pelicans acquire Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, and Kelly Olynyk, and a first-round pick for Drew Holiday. Now, I was talking about Drew Holiday being worth more than what he was in these trades. But as you can see from the game that was on tonight, the game on last night for you guys, I think the Heat are pretty content with keeping Tyler Hero. I don't think they would trade Tyler Hero for this scenario. So if I'm New Orleans, I'm taking this trade for Tyler Hero. Could you imagine? You have Lonzo, Tyler Hero, Brandon Ingram, Zion, and Jackson Hayes on a team. Dude, that team is winning a chip in like 3 years. Like, no joke. That's title contention in a couple years. Plus you get Nunn off the bench. Plus you get Olynyk, who's first was maybe Duncan Robinson. No offense to Duncan Robinson, but obviously Tyler Hero is just a more complete player than Duncan Robinson is. Then maybe I would take this trade because obviously Miami looks like they're in win now scenarios with Jimmy and Bam. Adding Drew to that, another really good scrappy defensive player with Jimmy Butler. That's a scary team. And plus I think more players would want to play in Miami now that they're a competitive team. I know if I'm an NBA player, I want to play in Miami. So I think that's fine if it was like Duncan Robinson, but for this trade specifically, no. But if I'm New Orleans, absolutely I'm crying over this trade because Tyler Hero looks like he is legit. Next up, we have the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks get their superstar, Chris Paul. Chris Paul, their new superstar, for Frank Ntilikina, Wayne Ellington, and a first-round pick. But it is the Clippers' first-round pick, not a Knicks pick. It's a Clippers' first-round pick. If I'm the Knicks, no doubt doing this trade, you're finally getting a good player who is a pass-first point guard who would probably get some attention from free agents who want to play with a good passing point guard. I'm taking this trade. Plus, you're not giving up a whole lot. You're getting up another point guard, but Frank Ntilikina is obviously Frank and Chris Paul. There's a pretty big different upside to that. And plus, you're getting up a first-round pick, but it's not even your own first-round pick. It's the Clippers' first-round pick. And then if I'm the Thunder, again, I'm firing the GM who does this trade. It's a dumb trade on the Thunder side. It's stupid. You're not even getting it. If it was the Knicks' first-round pick, a lot more reasonable, but it's the Clippers pick, so it's going to be good. So I'm not doing that. Now we're on to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who get Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, and Dennis Smith Jr. and two first-round picks for Chris Paul. Okay, so they just flip-flop the roles. But in this trade scenario, OKC gets a better deal. Why would you? Okay, this makes no sense, but okay. So OKC gets Kevin Knox, Frank, Dennis Smith Jr., and two first-round picks for Chris Paul. So this trade is mostly built around Kevin Knox and Frank. I mean, Kevin Knox can still develop into a pretty decent small forward, and like I just said, they do need a developing small forward piece to go alongside Shea. You get two first-round picks. Man. You know what? I'm going to say yes. Again, OKC, you got to get rid of that Chris Paul contract. Kevin Knox is still a really good player. You can develop pretty well. You get Frank, who is a defensive-minded point guard. You get Dennis Smith Jr., who can still develop into a really good point guard. Could even surpass Frank for that starting role spot. And you get two first-round picks, which are really good because you already have a bunch of other first-round picks you can use for trades or actually drafting players. And then you get Chris Paul, which is fine. If I'm the Knicks, I'm still doing this trade, so this trade is just an easier sort of trade than the one that was just read, which is kind of weird. This one, you get the Orlando Magic get the second overall pick in the draft this year for Aaron Gordon and the 15th pick from the Warriors. Oh, excuse me. So the Warriors get, Aaron Gordon and the 2020 pick. Okay. Man, let's see here. Well, if I'm Orlando, I'm doing this trade for sure because you're getting the second overall pick for Aaron Gordon, which I feel like is a lot. I feel like Aaron Gordon is the player he's going to be. I don't really see him developing into anything else. Can he be a better offensive player? For sure, yes. But as a defensive player, I don't think he's ever going to develop into a good defensive player. So, I don't know why the Warriors would want this trade unless they're trying to get rid of Draymond Green. Because I guess you could even play Aaron Gordon at the 3 and then Draymond at the 4, which would be really, really, really weird. I think you can get a better player for the number 2 pick. So if I'm the Warriors, I'm not doing this trade. But if I'm the Magic, definitely you can get LaMelo, James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards. You can get either 3 of those players. And then you still have, Vucevic, you still have Mobamba, you still have Markelle Fultz, you still have Evan Fournier, you still have a really good team. You could, start your rebuild and finally trade Vucevic, which I hope they do, and finally start the rebuild with, a good piece, plus a top, 3 pick. You get the number 2 pick here, plus you get Fultz, and you still have Mobamba. I feel like that's a really good start to a restarting franchise. But if I'm the Warriors, am I doing this trade? Absolutely not. You can get a way better player. first round pick. If I'm Philly, I'm doing this trade. Philly needs a point guard that they can play with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons can play, with Chris Paul. Chris Paul can just play more off the ball as a spot-up shooter as well, developing into a pretty decent spot-up shooter, might I add. So I think this is totally fine to get a starting point guard, which they're desperately looking for. And then if I'm the Thunder, am I doing this trade? No. I mean, Matisse Thybulle can be a good starting shooting guard for them, or even small forward, but Matisse Thybulle for Chris Paul, I'm not doing that trade. Of course, Al Horford is a really good locker room piece, but a good locker room piece isn't worth the almost like $190 million contract he has. So I'm not taking this trade if I'm OKC, but in this scenario, I'm Philadelphia, and of course I'm taking this trade for Chris Paul. Now we have the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns acquire a $17.2 million trade exception and the number 2 pick in this next year's draft for Kelly Olynyk and the number 10 pick. So Phoenix gets the number 2 pick and a trade exception for Kelly Oubre. Yes, I'm doing this. If I'm Phoenix, again, you're still a developing team. Of course, you can still make a good playoff run this year, but you're not in any hurry. You still have a young team with D-Book and Ayton. You can get the number 2 pick. Again, you can get James Wiseman or Anthony Edwards. Could you imagine a backcourt of point guard Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards? That's tough. That is tough. That's a tough trade. I think you can get again way more of a better player like Bradley Beal or someone else for the number 2 pick than Kelly Oubre or Aaron Gordon. Just my opinion. But if I'm Phoenix, yes, I'm taking this trade. If I'm Golden State, no way am I taking this trade. I don't think Kelly Oubre is your good, third option for scoring. Again, you can probably get a lot more for the number 2 pick. Now we're on to the Portland Trailblazers, and in this scenario, the Portland Trailblazers acquire Aaron Gordon for Trevor Ariza, Anthony Simons, and a first-round pick. Okay, interesting. So the Blazers get Aaron Gordon for Ariza, Simons, and a pick. If I'm Portland, I'm doing this trade. Not because I don't think he would even start for the team. I think I would still start Zach Collins over him for defensive purposes. So Aaron Gordon off the bench would be awesome, but in this scenario, we're not getting rid of Zach Collins, Nazir Little, or Gary Trent Jr. are 3 young players that we really want to keep and are very high on. Sure, we don't get Anthony Simons, but in my opinion, I want to get rid of Anthony Simons just based on the fact that I really think having a defensive point guard to play the backup role for point guard while Damian's out is very important, and we do need desperately a better perimeter defender, and I don't think Anthony Simons is going to be that. So we get rid of Simons, get Aaron Gordon. He can be a good player to come off our bench, a good, scoring punch off the bench, and then in free agency we can sign some other defensive-minded point guard to play backup in replace of Anthony Simons. You get rid of Trevor Ariza, who's not going to be in the rotation anymore because we have Melo, who I'm assuming is going to be re-signing with us and getting Rodney Hood back. I like this. I think this is fine. I think if I'm Orlando, I'm not doing this trade, obviously, because you can get more for Aaron Gordon. Sure, Simons is good, but they already have Fultz, and they're both almost about the same age, so that's going to be awkward. The first round pick isn't going to be any good. So, and you have Ariza, so you're getting an older player, and this is not a trade that's really good for Orlando, but for the Blazers, I'm taking this trade. We have the Kings now, and the Kings get Jared Allen, Kirkus, something like that. Torian Prince, and Buddy Hield, and a second-round pick to Brooklyn. Wow, okay. So the Kings get Jared Allen, basically, for Buddy Hield. So if I'm the Kings, I'm taking this trade again. In my last trade video, we already went over the entire scenario, what happened with Buddy Hield, and him getting benched, and gets your team deep, especially in the playoff run where scoring is very, 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 very important. I'm sure you can, you have DeAndre Jordan who can start for you guys for sure, and then you can even pick up another center in free agency. I'm doing this trade if I'm either team. I think this is a good pickup for both teams. Next we have the Spurs, and the Spurs get Gordon Hayward and Robert Williams III for LaMarcus Aldridge. If I'm the Spurs, I'm not doing this trade. I think the Spurs right now are in a rebuild mode, and I don't think having a rebuild with Gordon Hayward in his large contract is good. So that's not gonna happen. I don't think he really adds to the sort of long-term sort of vision they have with Derek White and DeJounte Murray. They have good players already who are pretty young, and I don't think Gordon Hayward really fits into that sort of trajectory that they're going in. If I'm Boston, I'm doing this trade, obviously, LaMarcus Aldridge, Gordon Hayward. I feel like Aldridge is, knock on wood, in a little better health and player capability than Hayward is right now. So I would do that trade. Plus, then you can move Tatum to the small forward position, which is his true position, than having him play the 4. Now we're on to the Toronto Raptors, and in this scenario, the Raptors get Eric Bledsoe, Ilyasova, a first-round pick for 2023, and then you get a 2020 pick as well for Kyle Lowry. Okay, so the Raptors get Eric Bledsoe and 2 first-round picks. The Bucks get Kyle Lowry, and the Orlando Magic get Dante DiVincenzo and a first-round pick. This is kind of confusing. Why are the Orlando Magic involved in this is beyond me, but so if I'm Toronto in this scenario, I get Eric Bledsoe and 2 first-round picks for Kyle Lowry. No, I don't think I'm doing this. Kyle Lowry is arguably the most important player in Toronto Raptors history. Obviously Kawhi with winning them a championship, but I feel like importance of a franchise, I think Kyle Lowry is probably the most important, is he not? So I'm not doing that just to get Eric Bledsoe and 2 first-round picks that aren't going to be really that good. So I'm not doing that. Milwaukee gets Kyle Lowry. I am doing that. I feel like Kyle Lowry with Giannis would be very interesting. I feel like Kyle Lowry can really play with Giannis. Sort of play the same role like he did with Siakam, but a couple times better than that. Obviously with comparing Siakam and Giannis. And then Orlando just get Dante DiVincenzo and a first-round pick for basically nothing. So I'm doing that for Orlando because, like I was talking about, I'm very high on Dante DiVincenzo, and I feel like he can be a very good piece of, developing with them, with, the players I mentioned before. So I feel like I'm doing this trade for Milwaukee and Orlando, but not for Toronto. I feel like you don't give up Kyle Lowry, honestly. Now we're on to the Utah Jazz. And the Utah Jazz get Wendell Carter Jr. and Otto Porter in the number 4 pick and another first-round pick. Wow, so you get 2 first-round picks, Wendell Carter Jr. and Otto Porter Jr. for Rudy Gobert. Yo, that's crazy. Wow, if I'm Utah, am I doing this trade? I think yes. You're getting the 4th pick. You're getting Wendell Carter Jr., who is still a young developing player who can develop with Donovan Mitchell. And you're getting Otto Porter Jr., who's still a capable player for you to make the playoffs with. And you're getting another first-round pick in 2021. I'm doing this trade. I think this is worth it. And then for the Bulls, you're getting Rudy Gobert. If I'm the Bulls, am I doing this trade again? No. I really want to see the Bulls develop. I don't want them to rush the system. I feel like they're fine with where they are with Kobe and Zach and Laurie and Wendell. I like that group. I think they just need a small forward like Denny, who we've seen before in some of my NBA 2K videos. I think Denny would fit really well with that team at being the starting small forward for them. So I don't think I would do this if I'm the Bulls, but if I'm Utah, this trade intrigues me. And I'm saying yes. It's a shakeup, and I like that. Lastly, we're on to the Wizards, and the Wizards get Andrew Wiggins, Eric Pascal, and the number 2 pick for Bradley Beal. Wow. If I'm the Wizards, I'm was the last one. Pretty exciting one. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, if you haven't not seen my past video, please go check that out if you're interested in doing the not even 5,000 subscriber giveaway. Now it's just a regular giveaway for you guys. I get into more depth about it. If you're not really confused on what's going on or anything like that, just watch my last video. And yeah, that's it for me, guys. I'll see you again